when you get married, you're going to make more money. You have more leverage. You have more opportunities. There's more things that can happen for you. It's because you're not thinking about all this extra stuff.
Come on. Now, many women would rather die than invite men out.
And they will. You're going to die alone. You show up at work every day. You go get your car fixed. You take care of yours. You have all these wonderful examples of your ability to take some leadership, but you're going to not be a leader in the area that can give you the most peace.
Return?
Yeah, like that's crazy to me.
Hey family, welcome to another episode of The Love Lens. The episodes we do here will help you to change your view on love one episode at a time. Now, one of the biggest things that I often hear in my coaching practice is professional women, entrepreneurial women often feel like they have to choose between love and business, love and success. Can they really coexist? So what I want you to do right now is take a moment, hit subscribe, share this episode with all your girlfriends because it's gonna be good. Today I have Vivian Olodun, the CEO and co-founder of Flourish Media, the multi-million-dollar media agency. Welcome, Viv. How you doing, sis?
I'm doing well. I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy to be here. This is outstanding. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been a long time.
Yes, it has.
Wow.
It's been a long time.
It's been, it's that whole panini that happened. That just kind of got us off our rhythm, like we were hanging out in the bottom of Miami for me.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
With our girl, Luli B. And from there, we became fast friends, right?
Yes.
And Viv, it has just been beautiful to see your journey in this time. Mom of two. Oh, my goodness. Girl, I'd be like, oh, you get a gold star doing all this. You came out the house looking so cute and you got two babies.
Thank you.
How old are these babies now?
So my babies are 3 and 2 years old.
Oh, hallelujah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we have gathered here today to speak about this whole dynamic of entrepreneurship and love, right? And so I want you to take it back to the beginning. Of when you were starting your business and there was a certain man with a glimmer in his eye. Tell me about it.
A certain man with a glimmer in his eye. That is, I love that. So, when I started my business, I was still working for Coldwell Banker. I was the marketing director there, helping luxury real estate and agents to be able to sell their homes. I was managing over 30,000 agents at a given time. Before that, I was working for the Miami Association of Realtors and I was their social media consultant. And so I'd gotten accustomed to working a lot.
Yeah.
And I put nearly everything on the back burner so that I could show up for work. And really my closest friend, who was my maid of honor at my wedding, said, you need to get on Tinder.
Ooh.
And that is where everything started. And
you met on Tinder?
We met on Tinder and my husband still jokes. He says, I'm his Tinderella. And it's the truth because I was hanging out with my friend and she told me you need to get on Tinder because she moved to London. And so I didn't have my buddy to go run the streets of Miami with. And, and I was like, what am I going to do? I need to be with somebody. I need companionship. And she encouraged me. So I went on Tinder and with the caveat that I wasn't going to meet anybody in person because I told her, you don't meet anybody worthwhile on Tinder. This is a hookup app. What is going to happen? I don't want to do this. You're only meeting nice people because she was in London. I'm like, you're in London. I'm in Miami. I'm going to have a very significantly different experience.
Yeah.
And she said no. And so I went to swiping and I took my time. And my very first Tinder date is my husband right now.
No.
Yeah. My one and only Tinder date is my... Yeah.
Did y'all hear this? This was like a message, right? There's so many women that's like, I would never get on Tinder, Coach Kim.
Yeah.
Your first and only.
My first and only Tinder date.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? What were some of your apprehensions, right? Being someone successful, doing all the things, getting on Tinder. Were you apprehensive? Like who would see me with Miami?
Oh my God.
They're going to judge me, all of that stuff. Did any of that come up for you?
My very first and main concern was the fact that Tinder is like Grindr and has a location. And that was my main concern because I lived alone. I moved to Miami when I was 17 years old. And so I don't have any family or anything that's here. And I always thought, I need to keep where I physically am very sacred. I don't want people to know where I am. And on the app, that's one of the number one things is that people can see where you are. And so when I was swiping and looking around, I thought, they can see where I am. This is so scary. And because of that, I just took my time. I really did take my time. I don't remember how long I was on the app actually before I went on this date, but it wasn't super long. It was definitely less than 90 days. And so when I went on the app and I was looking and I said, I'm going to really be conscious of what I'm looking for and be honest with myself. And I would talk to people. Of course, I got all the pics that people get and I got all the offers that people get. Yes, all the eggplants. And I did get into conversation with different people and I just took my time. I genuinely took my time and I said, I'm not going to rush to meet anyone in person because they know where I am. What if it goes poorly or anything like that. And then I did. I saw people that I knew here in Miami. I'm a social butterfly. So I saw people and I thought, oh my God, they can see me too. It's like, they know I'm looking. Oh my God. And, I just said, I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to focus on having fun too. That was my mindset when I was on Tinder. I wanted to have fun, but I didn't want to waste my time. Yeah. So that balance worked out for me. And so I looked and said, do they have the same interests that I have? Are they intellectually stimulated? And I'll be honest, I started looking for people who had really good jobs. I looked for the doctors. I looked for the business owners. I looked for people who mentioned what colleges they went to. And just so happened, my husband, I don't remember verbatim what he had there, but he did go to MIT. And I thought, and in his bio, it said something about being an unexpected nerd or like a nerd that you wouldn't, on site. Because my husband, if you've ever seen him, has dreadlocks like down to his butt. He's from St. Lucia and Trinidad. Ooh. Yeah, so he's a Caribbean man. Yes. And he's an unexpected nerd. If you just saw him, you wouldn't assume those things. And so I said, okay, he looks nice. We're gonna see. We're gonna see how this goes. Yeah. And so I went, and that was it.
So what was it about the conversation that made you say, I want to get to know this guy in person?
I thought that he was very thoughtful and kind, very witty. He still is. And he was just very intellectually stimulating because here in Miami, I had 2 babies, so I look a little different, but I was, I am and still very sexy lady. Yes. And so, as I was dating before, I've dated NFL players, I've dated like public figures, people like all different kinds. And I found that when I would date them, they just weren't intellectually stimulating. I remember being on a date with a football player once, and I told myself, okay, I'm not going to say anything this entire date and see if he notices. And because like for real. And I said a combination of certain things. I said, oh, that's cool. I like that. Oh, really? But I didn't give any information about myself. And I thought, oh, this is going to be really funny. And he's going to say like, open up or anything like that. And it never happened. We went on the dinner date and he just kept going, kept talking about himself. Never once asked me anything about myself, didn't pull from anything. It just was not an intellectually stimulating date. And the funniest thing about that date is that he told me, he's like, you're just the kind of woman I'm looking for.
Oh, geez.
Can you imagine? That I was intentionally not talking, not being myself, not giving any information, just watching how he would engage with me and me being silent, not talking, not giving any opinion about myself, not anything. And that was his ideal woman. I was like, wow, you're not the man for me, obviously.
Wow. But most people are looking for someone that listens to them and has them feel heard, right? So maybe it was that part of it.
We give him grace.
Yeah, we give him grace. But obviously that was not the one. Okay.
No, it wasn't the one.
All right. So now you get together with your St. Lucian Shuri man, right? You go on this date.
Yeah.
What was different about this date?
What was different is that we didn't do anything fancy. And I remember like recently you were saying, you took me to Red Lobster and like all this judgment about, who you're going to be with or what they do. Our first date was literally in his home. Like that was our first date.
You went to his house?
I went to his house. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I had previously been looking for an apartment and I viewed this particular building with my father. And I knew the building. I knew it was a very nice building. And I had friends who lived in the area. And I could hang out with my friends before and after. So I thought, wow, this is like really extreme because I don't know this person. But they live close to me. I know that because the app tells you like how far are you from this person.
Yeah.
I said, okay, you know what I did? I sent all my friends his address. I sent everybody I knew. I said, this is where I'm going to be. I'm dropping a pin just in case you don't hear from me. And call me, do the things. Call me in 15 minutes to check on me. And I can pretend like, my friend got a flat tire, whatever. Check on me.
Ooh, that's dangerous. PSA, do not do this at home. Okay. This is a story for one person. Yes. Do not repeat this. Okay. Keep going.
Yeah. So we had a date where both of us love film. We go to the African American Film Festival together all the time now. And so on that first date, we had different films we wanted to watch together.
Wow.
And so it was like a Netflix and chill, but not that intention, And so we had the date. He had like snacks for me, which I thought was really thoughtful. He had drinks and things, but it wasn't pretentious. He didn't overdo anything. Yeah. Most of the date was us talking to each other, talking about what we were watching on the television, and that was it. And honestly, from that day till today, that's my man from that day. Like we just were together. Now, what's interesting is after that first date, we both were traveling. And so we didn't see each other for 2 weeks immediately after that first date.
Did you keep in contact? What was that?
We did. It was very sparse because my husband, if you've ever met him or you get the chance to meet him, he's like a quiet person. He's not a chatty Cathy at all. I am, but he isn't. Opposites attract. And so, it was very much I hope you have a good day or what's going on today. But it was not, because Miami, it was not, good morning, babe.
WYD.
Yeah. Like that kind of, I hope you like sleep. Because, men can schedule that stuff.
Yeah.
Like they're sending it to you and like 15 other girls. And so it wasn't like that, but it was just a very soft check-in. And, I hope your trip goes well. I hope yours does too. And that was just kind of it. And then we talked about, when do we want to have our second date? And our second and third dates really set the foundation for our entire relationship.
Ooh, talk about it.
So our second date was at Miami Heat.
What?
Sweet seats.
Oh.
For the Miami Heat.
Who got the sweet seats?
Me.
Okay.
So one of the things that I had to do very differently with my husband now, but with this man, this random man, was, okay, I met this guy on Tinder. Every time I date someone, I'm thinking I want to date to eventually get married or have something serious. But I don't show up as my full self. And I've been doing this over and over again now at this point. And I thought, if it was just a friend, I have sweet seats to the Heat.
Yeah.
I would invite a friend to go to, and it was playoffs too.
Ooh.
So I was like, I want to go, but I want to go with this guy. I want to get to know him. My friend that I would have gone with was in London. And so I'm going to invite this guy. And so... And I talked to my other friends and they're like, you don't think that's too extreme or he's not going to judge you or feel like maybe he's a gold digger? You don't know. Like, why would you invite him to something like that? I said, well, he's a guy. He probably likes sports and I'm going to go and I don't barely watch the game. I'm just there for the energy.
Yeah.
And I want to go. So I'm going to invite him. And so we went. And it was so funny because one of the staff people said, oh, is this your husband? Ooh. And both of us were like, huh? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? This is our second date. But we had like, pump the brake.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, it was my husband. It's so bizarre. So that was our second date.
Did he have a good time? Did y'all really?
Yeah, we had a great time, great conversation. And one of the things, because he's from New York and he thought it was so funny because it was toward the end of the game. I'm in Miami a long time. Yeah. So the game's almost over. I'm ready to go. This is Miami. We're ready to go. There's something else to do. So how can you come to a playoff game with sweet seats? This is great. You have to wait to the end.
You like the traffic,
I'm like the traffic, the walking. I'm ready to go. And I should say I worked for the arena when I was in college. So I worked on the floor level. I worked in the flagship lounge for many, many years. So I've been to 1.5 million games. And so I was like, okay, well, I guess we'll wait. And turns out they had I think it's called triple double. And so it was awesome. It was like an awesome game. Whoa. And it was just great energy. So that was our second date. Our third date.
What was the third date?
Our third date, we went to the Bahamas.
Ma'am. Ma'am. Now you went from some movies with some peanuts to the sweet life to the Bahamas. Now, who got the Bahamas ticket?
I did.
Now, what happened there?
So what happened was it was his birthday. It was his birthday week.
Wow.
And I thought, Bimini. Bimini's right there.
Right there.
And you can go for a day trip.
Okay.
And I've always wanted to go. And again, if it was a friend, I would just say, let's go. It's a day trip. Let's go. And I kept thinking about, well, I'm the woman and he needs to treat me and he needs to this and he needs to that. And it's like, honestly, I treat myself. I live a treated life, period. Like I treat myself. And I thought, I want to go. If I go and he's awful, I'm still in the Bahamas. I'm still in the Bahamas. And at least and then it's only for a day and we'll come back. And I don't have to see this man ever again. And if we go and it's a great trip, then it's a great trip. Okay? Yeah. And so those are our first 3 dates.
Wow. Listen, have you ever struggled when it comes to conversations on dates? Maybe a first date or even your 50th date. One thing I know is that we need to have more meaningful conversations. And that's why I created the Love Deck. 60 questions to ask before choosing the one, but really to deepen your conversations. So whether it's with that guy that you're dating or with your mom or your close girlfriends, what I know is we gotta speak more to the heart of our people. Grab your Love Deck today. It's a great gift for others, and you could get it right now in our Amazon store. Pick up yours. One side is affirmations. The other side is dating conversations. Get yours today. Pick up the Love Deck. That's really cool. Now you trigger something for me because I went on a first date once to the Bahamas.
Hey.
Now that was crazy. He played a piano at my church.
Okay.
Right. So I was just like, he's vetted. Right. He played piano. Piano at the church.
Yeah.
So can't take those things for granted. I remember sending a picture of his license to my girlfriends. Like, okay, if I don't come back in a day, I died and he's the killer.
Yeah.
He did not end up being the one. And I realized that, when people want to get flued out, it's usually for attachments and things.
Yeah.
So, he was not it. That was not the one. But back to you. Okay. So, all right. So the 3 days. So now, all right. So pause on that because you paid essentially for 2 of them.
Yeah.
So do you find yourself paying for everything now? Or
no, I pay for almost nothing now.
Oh, well, God bless you. Okay. Keep going.
Yeah,
keep going.
So I say that to say that my mother always told me that you teach people how to treat you. Right? And so if I would have said, first of all, if I would have sat back and said, you find us a date and he took us to whatever, then I would have been like, okay, this is cute.
Right.
But that's not what I like.
She was like, look, I put him in training camp quick.
From day one. I'm like, this is what I'm used to so that you understand what I'm used to.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And it's not a reflection of somebody flued me out or somebody else paid for it.
Exactly.
Literally, this is what I would do for myself with my own money.
I love that.
That is really important because the dynamic of our relationship has grown and changed over the years, especially with having children, especially being an entrepreneur, especially going through the pandemic. And now where I have my mother is going through different things. So I need to be present for her and I need to be free in very specific ways as far as business goes so I can be present in my personal life.
Yeah.
And he has stood up 100%. I'll tell you about this when he decided to take me on a trip for my birthday.
Oh, snap.
This is years later. And so we went on a cruise. I'd never been on a cruise before, ever in my life. And we ended up going on a 14-day cruise.
That's a really long cruise for a new cruiser.
Yes, it is. My very first cruise.
Hallelujah.
He flew me to Italy.
Okay.
So we stayed in Rome for a couple of days. And not just me, but my mother and her boyfriend at the time.
3.
Yeah. So all 3 of us. And then we went to Turkey, Greece.
Yes.
And obviously in Italy. And so I got to see 3 countries. And I thought, I wonder if I set the trend with us going to the Bahamas because it's like, this is what I like. And so my mother was like, and we weren't even engaged at this time.
Ooh.
And my mom was like, oh, this man is definitely man. She's like, imagine what he's going to do when you all get married because this is just a hang. What is this? And so, but yeah, we went on a 14-day cruise to Europe, and it was phenomenal. It was
that is fabulous. So tell me about the dynamics of you building your company and trying to date, because so many women that I come across, that I coach, that I deal with, it's like, Coach Cass, my business isn't where I want it to be.
Right.
So I need to focus on my business and love later. Love later. Love later. So did you face any of that, or no, it was totally simple to do both?
I definitely faced that. And when we were dating, even though I was, having these 3 dates to set the foundation, at that same time, I was having a very tumultuous time in my job.
Okay.
And so what was happening is I wanted to get a raise. And I talk about it in my book, Stumbling Through Adulthood, which is right here. And so in the book, I was looking for a raise, and I kept getting told that I would be in a managerial kind of path.
Yeah.
And that given time, I would be able to grow and get, and achieve this lifestyle that I want to achieve.
Yes.
And I was so frustrated by that because I knew it was going to take a long time. And I felt like I wanted to do something now. And I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. And I didn't talk to him about any of it because, remember, he's just this fun guy that I met on Tinder.
Right.
And we went on these dates. It was almost like I was treating him like an accessory as opposed to an actual person who was going to be here for a long time.
Right.
And so while I was going through these things at my workplace, I was sharing with my friends, and my entire world knew about what was going on, but he became this kind of escape to all that stuff. And so what happened is we went on a double date with my senior designer right now and her husband, who's an anesthesiologist, and then with my husband. And so while we were sitting there, she started to ask me, like, how's things going on with work and what happened with this, and like very detailed things. And he's looking at me like,
I don't know anything about this.
What? He was like, what is all of this?
Yeah.
Like, what is going on? And she's like, oh, you didn't know? Like, kind of like, you didn't know this? And her husband knew because, pillow talk. So he knew, but he was the only one who didn't know. And he really confronted me about it because he said, I don't feel like you're taking me seriously. He's like, and I really care about you, and I don't feel like you're taking me seriously. And I was like, well, why? It's like, well, you have all this stuff going on in your life and you're not sharing it with me. Feels like you're hiding a portion of your life.
Right.
And I explained to him, well, no, it's just that when I'm with you, it's to escape all of these things. It's not like you don't care about it. I don't ask you about what's going on at your job. And he's like, no, but I tell you what's going on at my job, and you don't tell me these things. And so, I was like, okay. So I started to tell him, and then that conversation turned into, I really want to leave my job and I want to start being an entrepreneur full time. I want to get into having private clients, because at that time, I had a lot of realtors who were coming to me because they wanted to amplify their digital reputation. And so I had this service that was just a digital reputation overhaul. It was $500 at the time. I would take all your business cards, and then I would make sure that your SEO showed up in your farm area as a realtor. And I went from having just one person doing this to it was about 20 people who had started to ask me to do this. And he was watching me, kind of still watching the movies that we like to watch, and like kind of trying to do this work and all this stuff. And he said, I think that you could do this. I think you could do this full time. And I said, I know I could do this full time. How dare you? You think? I can. I was like, but when I'm a type of person that makes decisions based on like facts, money.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at how much am I paying for my apartment? How am I paying for my car? How am I doing this? All this stuff. And I was like, wow, if I do this, I have to downsize. So I started to actively look for a new apartment. And I did that for probably 2 months. And he was well aware of it. And this is the root of our very first argument, like real serious argument in our relationship, because he never once offered for me to stay at his home. And I never once asked. Because these two independent people.
Right.
I'm Nigerian Panamanian. He's from Caribbean. And so we're like, you got to do your own thing.
Yeah.
But literally, it would take nothing for me to finally, it was my best friend who finally said, Vivian, you can stay at my house. You can stay at my family's house. You got any of us. You ask us, we got you. But doesn't your man like live by himself?
Right.
I was like, yeah. He's like, it never occurred to you to like move in with him, to live with him? And I was like, oh, I don't know if it's that serious. And I don't want to ask him that. And I'll feel so stupid if we move in together. And then he gets upset or like one argument. And he's like, this is my house. I don't need kind of in my life.
Right. Anybody go kick me out.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I just don't want to be in that vulnerable, I don't want to be in that vulnerable position.
Yeah.
But it was the exact position that I needed to be in. And I cried crocodile tears when I finally accepted to live in his house. And that decision has been the foundation of me being able to trust him with a lot of things and creating a safe space for me. Because when you're an entrepreneur, when you're really going to do this thing, you need a parachute. You need something. If it's not financial, a parachute that you've been saving because you're going to start your business, or if it's emotional, that you have a community of people who are going to support you, or it's practical. Your parachute is the fact that you have skills you can drop back on. You know, if this doesn't work, you know, you can go and get a job somewhere else. Everybody has a parachute of some sort. And when that happens, and by the way, if you think you don't, you have the faith in God and the universe to carry you through. You do. There's something that you're relying on.
Yeah.
And so when I made that decision is really the foundation of being able to grow the business, because I knew that I could drive Uber. I still am registered for Lyft right now. Like, don't get it twisted.
Right.
When you're an entrepreneur, you got to be ready.
Make the money how we make it.
We make it how you make it. As long as it's legal and not immoral, then do it.
That's it.
You go and make your money. And so I had to do those things so that I could grow what I envision in my heart and in my mind.
Yeah.
And so that was a big part of it.
But how did you bring up this conversation with him about moving in? Did you finally say, so, can I move in?
No. So how it came up was that he kept saying, I think you're upset with me. I think you're mad at me. And I was like, mad at you about what? And he's like, I just know that you're upset with me. I don't know what you're upset about, but I know that you're upset. And finally I said, well, you're watching me downsize my whole life. You're watching me like seriously considering giving up my apartment, watching me go look for apartments. Some of the places are like neighborhoods that I don't want to live in. The apartment itself doesn't look like what I want to live in, but you're seeing me make this sacrifice and you're never not want. Literally, you went with me to look at this place.
Cockroach Motel.
Yeah, like you didn't offer to pay for it. You didn't offer to like have it. You just didn't offer. And I feel upset because I love you, but I feel like you're not here for me. And it's like that is upsetting to me. It's very scary to have to trust somebody who you don't know how they like really feel about you.
Right.
And he said, well, you never asked me. I said, you didn't offer.
Ooh. So then what?
So then he offered, would you want to live with me? And I said, yeah, I would want to live with you. And he said, well, fine.
It is.
Simple as that. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, my lease is up in this time. And he was like, okay, so just pack your stuff up and bring it. It's fine. And I was like, really?
So, okay. So now moving in and essentially you're in a space where you're seeking to build your empire.
Yeah.
It's not his business.
No.
It's your business.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a separate entity.
Yeah.
So was he more of the support financially so you could get this off and then emotionally, but he wasn't necessarily in the weeds making things happen with you?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No. So my business grew with Dr. Tracy Timberlake, who's my business partner. And we had a third party at the time as well. And so we worked on the business. And so when I say that, that means that we developed the website together. We decided what our products and services were going to be. We're pretty much known for Behind the Leaf, which is our conference where we connect angel investors with women business owners. A lot of people are very shocked to find out that we raised $15 million to do that. But you're not that shocked when you know that I used to hang out at the suites and go to the Bahamas, and I had a very good corporate job, and literally every day I was connected with very wealthy people. So if nothing else, to remember to keep those relationships as you're going across your life so that you can build the business. But what I will say is that he provided a free place for me to be, because it wasn't that I moved in with him and started paying rent. That's very important to note.
Right.
I literally lived for free.
Yeah.
I still live for free.
Amen.
I don't pay the mortgage. I don't pay those household bills in my life at all. So I have that extra funds to reinvest back into the business.
Yeah.
Now, we've been together for a very long time, and every now and again I'll ask him, "Do you sure you don't want me to pay for something?" He's like, "No, it's fine." And so that's the situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, he supported me in the fact that he allowed for me to live for free. And when you look at your dollars and cents, and you can see how much you're paying on your mortgage, your light bill, your electricity, your Wi-Fi.
That's a lot.
That it's a lot of money. So he's made that investment in me and my business and the idea from the very beginning.
Beautiful.
Because if I didn't have that cushion, if I didn't have the ability to remove those bills from my life, I wouldn't have the funds to put back into the business.
So now you're working early mornings, late nights, networking, making it happen, websites, meetings, all the things. How did you still put energy into your relationship? This man paying all the bills, he's living there. You know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, you over there, huh? So how did you maintain that part?
Well, that part was really easy because when we were both working our corporate jobs, we basically had date nights. It was Mondays and Thursday. Every Monday and Thursday, we would work out together, and eat. Because my husband is a vegetarian, so he's an amazing cook. So he would cook beautiful
He
food.
cooks too.
He cooks.
See, ladies, it exists.
Yeah, it does exist.
Yes.
It's like wonderful. And so I would, we work out together. That was like our date night. And then it became we might go out for like a concert or whatever it is, like in between. And then obviously when we lived together, we'd work out all the time. If you're on my social media at Vivian Olo, you'll see I was in great shape. It worked out all the time and I was eating great. It was just wonderful. It was a wonderful time in my life. And so we continue to do that. We just set aside time. And I know that when you're dating, when you're single, you want to have this kind of romantic view of it's going to be a spontaneous. Nothing in my life is spontaneous. Nothing. I have to schedule it.
Everything.
It has to be scheduled. If it's not scheduled, it just doesn't happen.
Right.
And so because he's a high performing person and I'm a high performing person, we understand that portion of it and don't judge our love based on whether or not it is spontaneous. Because those are they're not the same thing at all. And so in addition to us having our date nights, planning months ahead, I'm super excited right now. I'm going to go see Cat Williams on Sunday. And so it's like just planning, like you want to do something, plan it. We're going to do this together. Yes. But then also planning trips together.
Yeah.
And then there came a point, there was like a pivotal moment in my business where I was working for a very, very wealthy client. And that client actually flew us both out on a private jet.
Come on.
To Jamaica.
Yes.
It's amazing. And so we flew out together and I was like, you have to come with me because I don't know this one. I was like, I can't be getting kidnapped. I know these people. I was like, I don't. And so he's like, my husband's a computer programmer. So as long as he has Wi-Fi and a laptop, he can do his job.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, well, pack your stuff. You got to come with me. So we went and it was incredible because while at that point is when he started to give his input into the business because he could start to see how big the business could become. It wasn't just me being a social media manager or like a marketing consultant, but it was, you kind of need a team. You need to hire people. And so at the jobs that he had, he would say, at our company, we do this. Maybe you should consider having that too, because I don't have a lot of insight into how corporate organizations are actually run. Because almost everybody knows is an entrepreneur. And as the longer I've been an entrepreneur, the more entrepreneurs I've known.
Right.
And so he's been super helpful. And because he's a computer programmer, when I want to onboard a client, at this point, I'm pretty sure he designed the entire system for me. So I click one button and everybody gets all the emails they need. They get all the automations. He designed that for me.
Beautiful.
But also taught me and my team how to do it. And so it's incredible to have MIT level tech and automations and insight within my business, even though
it's beautiful.
Right? It's a beautiful thing. And so, he's really added so much value to my life. I'd say all the time, if I could write down what I wanted in a partner, I would not have the audacity to write down the husband that I have.
Wow.
He's outstanding.
Ooh, he better watch this episode. Okay. Listen, just give him some just because. Here we go. So when you all were dating and your business wasn't where you wanted to be, you still made time for those date nights. Now, the question to you is, as a busy woman who's driven, it's like your brain doesn't shut off. So how did you find the energy or the fortitude to close the laptop and to step away and to be present with him, knowing your to-do list? Or did you, after the date, then stay up from 12 to 2 a.m. to finish what you did? Like, what did you do in that dynamic?
So to manage the time, I think that's a really good question. And I want to acknowledge that my husband's a night owl and I'm a morning person.
Okay.
And so there, for a long time till we had kids, I don't even think that he actually realized how much I was working because I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I always have. So I wake up at 5. I would go to the gym, come back. I was writing my book at the time. So I would write my book. I was also teaching at Fayetteville Tech University. Wow. I was teaching political science because I have a master's degree in political science. And so I handled all that stuff, all that administrative, like visual, she is working stuff was done by like 11 o'clock. So from his perspective, because he woke up at like 10 a.m., I worked an hour every day. It's like,
working?
It's like this girl works 1 hour every day and then she goes hangs out with all these random people and then is just home for dinner and somehow this company's working. But I work from 5 to about 11:30, 12 o'clock each day. And I've been doing that every day for almost a decade. Wow. So it's very, very consistent. I'm very consistent. And so when it came time for us to spend time together, would look like us going to have lunch. Like we would just leave because we both work from home. So we might, just go for a walk. We live in downtown Miami, so it's pretty easy to do. And while we were at lunch, we would talk about, his job. I was very intentional to ask him about what's going on at your work, what's going on with your friends and your family. Like I'm very, very intentional about that. And I think that helps me not to constantly talk about work all the time because it is on my mind all the time. I am.
I can tell you all the things.
From the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep, I am thinking about my business on one level or the other. And so there's that. And then there's the reality that he doesn't judge me for that because I am an entrepreneur. And he sometimes will ask, like, whatever happened with this thing or that client or whatever. And sometimes I can talk through because I'm also an extrovert. So I need to talk it through in order to come to a solution. And so he just lets me just talk about whatever. And then sometimes he'll say, do you want my opinion?
That part.
Yeah. So do you want my opinion or you just want me to listen? It's like, yes, I do want your opinion. Or no, I just need to say it because I feel like it needs to be said. But who am I going to say it to? So you're here. So you just get to hear it.
That's
so,
it.
Yeah.
That is beautiful. I love this. Okay, so y'all were dating for a minute.
Yeah.
How long were you dating for?
We dated for 5.5 years.
Oh, that's a long time.
Yes, it is.
It's a long time. So what helped that transition to the put a ring on it?
You know what? Other people.
These nosy folks in your business. Which one of them?
I mean, it started to feel like almost all of them because eventually my father, my mom, they started asking, are you marrying this person or what's going on?
We doing here?
Like, well, y'all live together. What is the next step? And my brothers, different people. I know for a fact that my father come to Miami and you mysteriously need help walking to the store or whatever. And like, we need to drive this place. And they would ask him, my daddy's Nigerian. Don't play that. And so he asked him, are you going to marry my daughter? Like, what is your intention? What is happening? What's going on? And, unbeknownst to me, he did have a plan, which I shouldn't be that surprised about because he is a planner, an organized person. Yeah. But what ended up happening is that it was his birthday. If you remember our first birthday together, I took him to the Bahamas. And that birthday, we went to Orletta, the park here.
Oh, nice.
And we went kayaking. Okay. Mostly because I was like, you don't want anything for your birthday? We have to do something for your birthday. So, I take my birthday very seriously. Yeah. So we got to do something. We can't just like go to dinner or whatever. So I like kayaking. I'm going to take you. You're going to like it. It'll be fun. So we went kayaking and he just struggled all the way through it. Bless it.
It's rough.
I'm like,
my arms.
It's like, let's do this. And so I just thought it was strange, but I felt for myself, I was like, I checked off the list. I did something nice for him, whatever. So it's the end of his birthday and he came to me, where we were living was, we live in a high rise. So it was like we could see the night sky and everything. And he asked me, he's like, I want you to be my gift forever, for the rest of my life, my birthday gift for the rest of my life. And I thought, well, look at that. And he still teases me because instead of me to say yes, I said, are you sure? That was my reply after 5.5 years. I said, are you sure? He's like, am I sure? Yeah, I'm sure. I said, then yes. Yeah, my ring right here.
It's so pretty. Are you someone that goes to all the conferences? You know, you get your CEUs for your job. You're always up leveling in personal development. I'm going to tell you one thing. You need your CEUs in love. Join me for Wanted Woman Live, the ultimate non-conference, unconference experience, 3 days in sunny South Florida this fall. This is an experience where women come together from all over the country to be able to be poured into. All around love. How do you show up in love? How do you receive love? How do you just have fun with love? Join the sisterhood, an amazing experience created and curated just for you, the professional woman that desires more. Click the link below, wantedwomanlive.com. Okay,
Yeah.
so, all right. So now married, 2 babies.
Yeah.
Business growing.
Yeah.
Mom.
Yeah.
That dynamic, right? Because everyone's parents gets older. They end up needing us. They end up moving in. You have babies under 3. You still have the husband. You know, the Caribbean people in my family. Listen to me. Listen to me. Right now, my husband just had surgery, right? So he has not been doing well. He's in pain. So my family, dad and my stepmom come over, bring him soup, real kind, real nice Jamaican folk. First thing my daddy says, you know, your husband's sick. You couldn't put on some makeup and dress up a little bit, you know? I'm like, really? What? So this is my upbringing, right?
Yeah.
Like that I have to fight through. So when it comes to you now with your family there, your baby's there, your husband with his wants and needs and all the things, how do you deal with all that?
You know what? I get a lot of help. And
talk about it.
That has been the biggest lesson in all of this is the amount of help that is necessary in order to reach a audacious goal. So I have a very audacious goal. I've built Flourish Media, my marketing agency. I want it to be a franchise. When I drive down the street and I see AutoZone and H&R Block and all these things, I want to see a Flourish Media office.
Nice.
Whether it's virtual and, you know, in the buildings or whatever it may be. And so that is outrageous. That's like a crazy thing to want, but that's what I want.
Yeah.
And so that looks like me being okay with the amount of help that those kind of people have. And my husband teases me because I didn't want to have a housekeeper. I didn't want to have a babysitter, let alone a nanny, which is what I have now. I didn't want to send the kids to daycare. I didn't want to do any of these things, but I needed to learn to do it because according to my husband, you think Oprah tries to wash her own sheets? No, you have to do it. You have to get help. And the way I came to terms with it is being a job creator.
Okay.
Because every entrepreneur is a job creator. Every single one of, more people work for somebody than they work for themselves. And it takes an entrepreneur to have that audacious goal to create a job for somebody else. And those jobs are in the traditional sense in the business, but it's all the different jobs that come out of that. So honestly, it's when I had my first baby, I definitely dealt with postpartum depression, which was unfortunate. But it was important because it made me very empathetic to other people in a very specific way because I never had any mental health problems before. And it opened up my eyes to how challenging that can be to show up when you are going through something that you can't see. And so during that same time, I realized that I didn't need to I needed an assistant. That's how I started. I said, I'm going to get an assistant. My assistant is now my nanny because she's excellent with children and she's wonderful, both of my girls. And then I hired an executive assistant who ended up being, we worked together like on and off every now and again, and it's been wonderful. But then when I took the time to step away from the business, I realized that there was a lot of automations or things that I was taking on, but that literally my business partner could handle, which she did when I was away. And that a lot of my team could elevate their skills
Ooh.
and be able to step into different roles. And so when I came back, I found, they don't need me to do this thing. I can do something else. And so when I had the second baby, I realized that number one, I was at peace because I realized the systems that I created within the business work because they worked the first time, they'll work this time.
Yeah.
And I realized that the more people that you can include in what you're trying to create, the longer your stability will be. You know,
beautiful.
When growth happens in collaboration, but also, you know, if you want to go far, you need a team. You can go fast by yourself.
Right.
But how much longer are you going to do that? I've been in business for 8 years. I've already done it. So now it's about legacy. It's about sharing what I know how to do with other people. And so that looks like not being at work and taking time when my husband needs to travel for work. Okay, you guys, I'm leaving. I'm going to go with him. I'm going with him and I'm taking my kids and I'm taking my nanny sometimes because, you know, when times are good, we can do that. Well, and then otherwise it's like, okay, I'm gonna go by myself.
Right.
But like, you figure it out. But like, yeah, right now I'm in a period where the things that are important to my husband are really the most important to me. And so it is very important to me to have good systems in my business so that I can be present for my husband, because I am very clearly recognize that had he not taken the time to be there for me in the very beginning, to supply me with somewhere to live for free, to not judge me, to give his insight, to, you know, not judge Dr. Tracy and all these women who are just staying in my house, because we were just all in his house. Like, we're all just staying in his house. Like, listen, we need somewhere to be. So we're having meetings here. We're inviting people here, like all kinds of stuff. And it was just like completely overstepping, like to the maximum degree of like, just go in the room. we're doing
we'll be here.
We're doing this. And so, I mean, we see the fruits of that, I think now. But it's all about having help.
All right. So let's talk about the help. So I heard executive assistant. I heard nanny.
Yeah.
Chef, he's cooking, you're cooking.
I have my food delivered. Yes.
Food delivered. Okay, food delivered.
A cleaning lady.
I
have a hairstylist. I have a regular nail technician.
That comes to the house?
He doesn't come to the house. I go to his shop.
Okay.
Because I like support his nail salon.
Yes.
A family owned business.
Where else?
I have a esthetician. I have
Skin's flawless.
Thank you.
Yes.
I have a hormone therapist.
A hormone therapist.
Hormone.
Yes, those are important.
Yes. And so I used to go to a chiropractor, not a chiropractor. He's a chiropractor, but he does Eastern
acupuncture.
And then what else? I have like my doctor. So I have a gynecologist.
Nice.
Who's also delivered my children. I've been going to her for 19 years, actually.
Wow.
To the same doctor.
Beautiful.
I'm a Libra, so I'm very loyal. If you can get on my good, if you can get on my good side, you're good for forever.
That's it.
I have a realtor who helps me because I do have 6 businesses. So I have
6. Hallelujah. Hold on.
Yeah, I have 6 businesses.
6 businesses, 2 babies, husband, mama, and all these people. Okay, come on, 6 businesses. What are they?
Okay, so I am an author and writer. I own Vivian, Olodun LLC, which is my consulting business where I help people if they want to do government contracts or like very elevated or one-time situations. Then I have Flourish Media, which is a marketing agency where we create, maintain the celebrity factor for you in your industry. Then I have Flourish Media Franchising, which is a separate business, which is about the franchise. And then I have Behind the Leaf, which is our nonprofit. It's a 501c3 where we focus on investor readiness for women entrepreneurs. And then we have Rich AF Holding.
Oh, snap.
Which is, thank my husband for that name. He picked that business name. It's very funny. But like Rich AF Holdings, which is my property.
Oh, you property management. Okay.
So
come on, property management. Oh, I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it. And so, okay. So in managing all of that, right? Because what I find in working with women is we get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Right? The to-do list never ends. And it's like, how do you choose your self-care in this process? So you have 6 businesses. You have this relationship, which many find overwhelming as is, to be able to live up, be enough for, look the part, So where is Viv's self-care time to just do for her?
So my self-care, and I thank my assistants for this, is that and Dr. Tracy, honestly, because when she did this in the beginning, I was like, oh, she's so annoying. Boundaries are annoying to people who do not have boundaries. Okay. And so I learned that I'm a person who doesn't have boundaries. It's time to learn them. And so in the business, Tracy pushed us to only work, like meet with clients on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I was like, this is money we leave it on the table. And she's like, no, just do it. And that grew into now our business is open Tuesday through Saturday, Saturday being our event days. Okay. Because we produce a lot of events for clients and things. But generally Tuesday through Friday, we're working. And only Tuesday and Thursday are we meeting with clients. And Wednesday and Friday is for us to plan and do things. And on Sunday and Monday are my off days. Now, I'm a mother, so I don't really get people, they don't want to acknowledge that. Right. You're a parent. Right. You don't really get off days. Yeah. But Monday is like my day. That's my day because my children are at daycare. My company is not open. And so that day turns into a day for me to write because remember, I have 6 businesses, but I have 6 businesses built around the things that I like to do. Yeah. So I like to write. So me writing on a Monday is technically working, but it's not really because for me, I enjoy that. Yeah. Me checking in and looking for houses to purchase or things remodeled. Is it a business? Of course, but it's leisurely. It's leisurely. Yeah. And so I think it takes a lot of audacity to find joy through entrepreneurship. And it's my goal that every woman find joy through entrepreneurship because you need to be able to exist in the world. And it's my belief that God has blessed you with skills that are skills you can make money from. Yeah. And so as you're doing those things, you're going to be able to find the right containers and integrate them into your life because it's inherently what you would be doing anyway. And so my off time are Mondays, and every single Monday or every other one, I'm doing something. If I'm not getting my nails done, then I'm going to get a facial. If I'm not getting a facial, then I'm at the spa. If I'm at the spa, then I'm at the beach or I'm sitting on my balcony and I'm writing. But that is my day. That's the day I take for myself. Monday. Oh, that's nice.
Oh, this is so good. Oh my goodness. I really pray that this is blessing someone. It's blessed me. Right? Me, a mom of one and done. Hallelujah. One and done. I find myself overwhelmed just with this scenario that I'm going on with currently. Yeah. My mom and my grandma are in my house right now. Hallelujah. Visiting from Jamaica. Right? So, and all of their wants, needs, desires, right? Then there's my husband who is physically not well, right? Yeah. Then there's my daughter who's like, mommy, what's up? Right? Yeah. It ends up being like, all right, y'all, I'm gonna be right back. Right. So let me go stand in the bathroom. Yes, that's it. Because y'all about to drive me crazy. Okay? I need to take a deep breath. Like, let me call a girlfriend for some comic relief. Like, girl, let me tell you. Yeah. These are the things, these are the moments that we don't always talk about. But the thing is that you can do both. Yeah. And that's really what I want to get the conversation about because there's so many single women that feel already that they're at their top and there's no way that they can love something more or do something more or let something else in. It's just like, you can. And I want this to be an example that you could do both and. You can have love and success at the same time. You can. And, I hope that everyone who's listening to this can one day deal with the struggle of, I deserve this. Because that's where I am sometimes. Yeah. And it's like everything's kind of going perfect, but it's kind of not because you still have to be present for your kids, for your family, for, all these different things. But it is the thing you're praying for. And so there's always more. There is always more. Right. And so if you're happy in your career, and you're happy in the way that it's growing or you have a vision for what it could be, I guarantee you that as you are elevating in your career, you must learn how to work with people. And there is, I don't think, any better lesson of how to connect with someone on a deeper level than a relationship. It really will teach you every single day, sometimes challenge you on days to think of new ways to communicate. I will say when we decided to get married, we saw a counselor, as most people do. And when we saw that counselor, they insisted that I do counseling, like me, by myself. And I was like, what? I was like, how come he doesn't need counseling? What the hell? And it's like, no, you need counseling. I'm just like, okay. So I did counseling for an entire
year and some just on my communication because I wanted to be able to be an effective communicator. And like my husband gives me a lot of grace because he loves me, but other people don't. And I need a lot of people to do what I say the first time.
Right.
And so I need to learn how to articulate that. And I think it would really benefit everyone who's listening to this to get comfortable saying what you actually want and actually doing what you want. Because I will say when I had my first baby, my mother-in-law was at my house for an entire month.
Ooh.
For an entire month.
Hallelujah.
And it was so interesting to watch my husband interact with his own mother because that's a different dynamic than what he would interact with me.
Yeah.
And then she did it again when I had the second baby. She came for a month, and I'm deeply appreciative for her for coming because my mama ain't that mom. My mom is not doing that. She's not stopping her life for that. It's never going to happen. And so I was very appreciative for her to be with us and with our children. But I had to learn to say things like, I appreciate you and I love you, but I don't like my eggs made like that. I don't want the baby held like that. I don't want you all to keep the child up at this time. I don't want I had to learn to do that. And in order for people to show up as their best selves for you, you have to get comfortable saying what you want. And I think that when my experience when I was single and listening to my own single friends is that you will put on a show. And remember, when we first started dating, I made a commitment that I was not going to pretend to be a different version of myself than I actually am. And that means I'm a boss lady. I'm also a morning person. I'm not going to mysteriously become, because it happens quietly and softly where we were dating and I would find that he wanted to stay up later and I would just get tired. And it's like, okay, I'm tired. I'm done for today. I'm done. So go entertain yourself. I want to get up at 5 because when we would work out together in the night, I consider that like a date night because it was in the evening. But the time I would need to work out is at 5 o'clock in the morning. And if I try to shift that, you get this. You know what I mean? It's like adjusting to someone else's schedule. And I can't do that. I just can't. And I can meet you in the middle. I can go and have lunch and we can hang out. We can go on trips. We can hang out. We can have date nights. But I can't deviate from my plan because this is what I'm trying to do. And I've had to have that same conversation with my husband. I've had that conversation with my family because when you're first generation, there's certain things, especially even if you're middle class or, whatever your economic situation may be, when you're developing a business and you're moving into a different lifestyle, you have to put a lot of people in their place on a very regular basis. And it's not a matter of arrogance. It's not, I'm doing better than you. It's nothing like that. I am a job creator.
Love that.
So I have to work because it's not just me. It's not just my family, not just my husband. I don't know how many people that was. I wish I was paying attention to see. But, and in addition to all the other people who work under my company. So I'm responsible for all those people. And so I can't be so flexible in certain ways, but that doesn't excuse being isolated. You still need to let people in so that they can choose to integrate into what it is you're doing.
Right. I love all of this, Viv. This has just been so good to take an inside look of some of the triumphs and some of the setbacks. Motherhood, entrepreneurship, relationship, marriage, but still committing to do it all. Like you can have it all. And yes, even at the same time, it's like they say, you can have it all, but not at the same time, but literally you can. It's just understanding what I'm hearing from you is who you are, what fits best, mornings, nights, and how do you get together in between, still making that commitment of connection. And then seeing what takes your mind off of work. And then really being present for those that you really care about and honoring yourself in the process. That whole how I like my eggs, that's a big deal. Because my grandma made some eggs with some oil and it's like, grandma. And I was in those trenches. So that specific example, I was like, oh, yes. It takes a lot.
Yeah.
And then my grandma said, you don't eat anything. And I'm like, well, actually, I eat many things. It's just in a certain way, right?
Yeah.
So it's teaching people that you love them. And if they want to help you, essentially, this is how you need the help.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes a lot of strength, a lot of gumption, especially for a Caribbean woman, that you're supposed to just do as you're told, go sit in the corner. I'll tell you this. We were sitting down to dinner on Sunday. My parents came back and cooked us dinner again. They're amazing. Oh. My God. And Ava was trying to get everybody's attention to tell them about a game she wanted to play. And they're just talking. And she was like, excuse me, I'm talking. And everybody was like, oh. And I didn't say nothing because I was like, I want my daughter to command a room, right? I want my daughter to command a room. Mm-hmm. And it's okay to speak up when you're not being heard.
Right. Yeah.
And there's something beautiful about that. Right.
Yeah.
And what we've been programmed to do is kind of be quiet.
Right. Quiet in the wrong moments, especially when you think about, when it comes to women in wealth.
Yes.
Okay?
Come on, women in wealth.
When you look at statistically, when you get married, and this is for men too, when you have a companion, won't even say married because you can have relationships of all different types, you're going to make more money.
Amen.
Like immediately, you're going to make more money. You have more leverage. You have more opportunities. There's more things that can happen for you. And I would, be so bold as to say, it's because you're not thinking about all this extra stuff. Mm-hmm. I think it is because having companionship is so important. It is entrenched to being a human. It's not even about being a woman. Human beings need community.
Yes.
They do. And having those people who can be very close to your heart where you can express yourself fully, be loved, and all the things that go along with that allows for you to be a more fulfilled person. Mm-hmm. So you show up better in every single situation you're in when you have an opportunity to be loved. So I really think that it is important to make time for that.
Yeah.
I've talked to many a busy woman, and she'll say, well, I want to date, but it has to be on this day at this time and in this way on this, second Saturday of the second. Really? Make time for it. And it can be your time. Maybe the only time you have is like really early in the morning. Okay, breakfast date.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Invite somebody and stop waiting on these men to invite you to things.
Ooh.
Like just, if you like him, be available. Call him. I'm doing this, and I want you to come with me.
Come on. Now, many women would rather die than invite men out. They would.
And they will. And you will.
Oh,
you're going to die alone because you can't you show up at work every day. You go get your car fixed. You take care of yours. You have all these wonderful examples of your ability to take some leadership, but you're going to not be a leader in the area that can give you the most peace.
Return?
Yeah, like that's crazy to me. No.
You got to step up.
You're going to be by yourself.
Ooh.
And I feel for you.
Come on.
Also, put some energy into being a fun person.
Yes.
Because sometimes we take dating so serious.
Super serious.
That you're not fun to be around. Mm-hmm. And it's a shame because you are fun to be around, but because you're so focused on this has to have this result, the relationship doesn't get a chance to get some legs and build some roots so that it can be everything that it can be. Mm. And that's unfortunate because I've seen, especially coming back to this Red Lobster thing, because my husband and I laugh about that a lot.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of fun with my husband all the time. Like we can go on a walk and I have just as much fun as us being on a cruise or anything else. It's just that you have this extra things going on. And honestly, some of y'all need to start to take some walks just to go to the park.
Right.
Commit to going on free dates with people.
Yeah.
Just to see, do I like this person? Because when you're in the relationship for real, it's the person. You don't have all this other stuff around you because you're going to be going through a lot of stuff over the course of a lifetime together. You need to be sure that that's your right person.
Ooh. When Andy and I first started dating, all of our dates were walks. Walks on the beach, walks in a park. We would sit at Dunkin' Donuts. Like, literally, the man didn't spend no real money for like the first 90, 180 days. It was a very long time, but I was really focused on, who are you?
Yeah.
How can we connect? I'm not really concerned about how much money you make because I understand when two are together, we multiply.
Yeah.
So it really is, can we have conversation? Can we laugh without all the cares of the world? Because my thing is money comes and goes, health comes and goes. I actually have to like you. So for us, our dates were marathon dates. We'd be on date for 10 hours just talking. I remember one time we brought his cousin with us. They were like, so all y'all do is talk? Like, that's it? And we were having a blast. Literally a blast. And I remember we were about 90 days and it was his family that was like, so y'all ain't gonna make this official?
Yeah.
Like, what's up? And we're like, we're good. They're like, but it's been like 3 months, right? They were trying to help us move this sucker along. It's like, all right, cool. Next step. Now we're official.
Nice.
And it's just been so beautiful because we really can just hang and just be and it not have to be anything more.
Yeah.
And I desire that for women in this world.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I know with my own father, I would complain to him about, oh, I'm single and nobody wants me. And my dad used to tell me, Vivian, he had a rule like for all of us, don't get married until you're 28. And we all thought that was like really strange.
Arbitrary.
It's a very specific age. He's like, no.
My dad said 30.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Good.
There's something to it.
Yeah.
And it's just, wait. He's like, because you need to evolve into being a full person. He's like, and you're not a full person until you've lived a little bit. So you know what you like, you don't like.
That's good.
He's like, and don't think about, be so in a rush. Like, don't be so desperate. Let's say that. Don't be so desperate. It's like, because the person who's right for you is going to be a very special person. And so that person needs time to develop into whoever they're going to be too.
Yeah.
Because every now and again, I'll ask my husband things about like his past relationships. And I'm like, how did you handle that before? And he'll tell me, and I'm like, oh my God. You would do that? Like, that's so crazy. Or, it's like, that's not the person that he's like, yeah, but because of that relationship, I learned this. And so now this and that, so there's something to that is that you're evolving as a person. And you also need to take time to enjoy that evolution, to become somebody who travels the world, who is fun to be around, who has a health, a wealth, emotional, spiritual routine, who has something that is solid, because relationships are not meant to fill a void for you. It's two complete people coming together and then building something new. But if you are jumping into a relationship, I feel, and this is just my opinion, to fill in something that you really deeply know or feel is missing, I think that is very dangerous.
Yeah.
Because it can create a codependency.
And they'll never fill that void.
And they're never going to fill it. It'll be like Prince, like my mother was never satisfied.
Never.
Right. Yeah.
Viv, I appreciate you coming out at the Love Lens and hanging out with us here today. So how can people find you? Where can they find you? Where can they hang out with you on these internet streets?
Sure. You can find me. I'm at Vivian Olo on all the things. My business, if you're interested, is at Flourish Media Co. on all the things.
Oh, that was simple enough.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, y'all. I pray that you have learned something around entrepreneurship and finding love and staying in love, making love a priority, just like you do your money. Okay. So keep loving, keep laughing, keep living. Subscribe, share this episode, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
The love deck. So let's just do random.
Wanted Woman Love Deck. Y'all, this about to be good. So we played with these ones already and they were good. They was like right on the money. They was good.